All right, you are not going to believe what just went down in the U.S. Senate. It all comes down to a single vote that pushed through dozens of government officials all at once. So how on earth did they do that? Well, it turns out they had to literally rewrite the rules of the game.
Yup, you heard that right. 48. Just let that number sink in for a second. Not 4, not 8, 48 presidential nominees. We're talking ambassadors, undersecretaries, the whole deal, all approved with a single vote. This is, well, it's just not how things are normally done. It's a huge shift in the entire confirmation process.
So, you'd think a move this big must have had massive support, right? Nope, not even close. It squeaked by with a vote of 51 to 47, a straight party line vote. Republicans pushed it through, and Democrats were completely against it. That tiny, razor-thin margin is what made this whole thing possible.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty. How do you even confirm 48 people at once? You have to change how the game is played. And believe me, the procedural move that made this happen was very controversial.
You've probably heard this term kicked around on the news, the nuclear option. It sounds super dramatic, and honestly, it kind of is. Put simply, it's a power move. It lets the majority party just bypass the other side's objections and change the Senate's rules with a simple majority. It's a game changer because it completely shifts the balance of power. So here's what actually changed. Under the old rules, just one senator could slam on the brakes, forcing these long, drawn-out debates and individual votes for a nominee. The new rule, it's basically an express lane. It lets the majority just bundle a bunch of these nominees together and approve them all with one quick up or down vote. Now, this is really important to understand. This new rule isn't a blank check. It has some pretty clear limits. It does not apply to the biggest, most powerful jobs. We're talking federal judges, cabinet secretaries, those really high-level posts. They still have to go through the traditional, much more rigorous process.
Okay, so that's the how. But what about the who? Who exactly are these 48 people who just got confirmed to their new jobs in this pretty historic vote?
Well, the list definitely has some names you'll recognize, like Kimberly Guilfoyle, who is now the ambassador to Greece, and Callista Gingrich, who's heading to Switzerland and Liechtenstein. But really, beyond the big names, this vote filled dozens of other super important, if maybe less flashy roles. Think undersecretaries and assistant secretaries at agencies like Defense, Interior, and Transportation, the people who actually make the government run day to day. And this gets us right to the heart of the whole issue. This isn't just about some dusty old procedure. It's a fundamental fight over how government should work. It's that classic Washington conflict, the need for speed and efficiency versus the demand for careful oversight.
Folks who support this change say it was a necessary fix. From their point of view, the old system was being abused to create a massive bottleneck, leaving essential government jobs empty for way too long. For them, this new rule just cuts through the gridlock and lets the Senate actually get its work done.
But opponents see this in a completely different light. They're arguing that this isn't about efficiency, it's about avoiding accountability. Their big fear is that by lumping all these nominees together, you lose the chance to really dig into each person's qualifications, potentially letting some, as they put it, historically bad candidates slide right through. So you see, it all boils down to how you see the problem. If you think the system was broken because of obstruction, then this is a logical fix. But if you believe that slow process was a feature, not a bug, a necessary safeguard, then this change looks like a dangerous weakening of the Senate's duty to advise and consent. So let's just zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here. This one vote isn't just an isolated event. It's a symptom of a much larger trend in Washington, and it's going to have real consequences for how things get done from now on. And just to give you an idea of the scale of the problem they were trying to solve, even after confirming those 48 people, there are still more than 100 civilian nominees stuck in the pipeline. This rule change was clearly an attempt to break that logjam, but it also sets a really powerful precedent for the future.
Which leaves us with this final, really critical question. We've seen how one side's solution for gridlock is another side's loss of oversight. So is this trade-off, swapping detailed scrutiny for speed and efficiency? Is this just the new price of governing in today's divided Washington? It's definitely something to think about.